Hello and welcome to the Thursday live game. Today we're going to be doing the Battle of Bladensburg. The Americans had the chance to deploy in lines, but they've got one unit that is coming onto the field from the north. And the British have had good marching, but are in good order. American militia units have been counter-marching all day. And from here, we will be doing some screenshots that are heavily influenced by terrain, smoke effects, etc. So we will go ahead and start getting orders and started. Hello, Colonel Armistead.
Hello, I believe I'm in the wrong text, the wrong voice channel, but I don't think that should matter.
Let me take a look. Voice channel, no, that doesn't matter, as long as you're separate. Besides, you guys will get moved around as you co-locate and everything.
Fair enough.
So your militia has had a hard day's march as you were trying to figure out where the British were going to be attacking from. You have finally settled on the village of Bladensburg, and your militia in the front have managed to set up some small breastworks from fences around the area. You believe possibly some scouts reported to you have written back that the British are now deployed in line to your south. Do you have any orders?
Mm, just prepare to defend the area.
Okay, thank you. Hello, General Stansberry.
Hello.
So, it has been a hot, humid day in the Chesapeake. Your troops, you were counter-marched a couple different times because you weren't exactly sure where the British were advancing from. But you have taken up positions in this valley here in the trees, and some of your men are enjoying the shade right now. No sounds of battle, but there have been a couple riders reporting that the British have deployed online to the south of the Bladensburg village and south of the Potomac.
All right. Do you want my orders now or later?
If you have any orders now, I will take them.
All right. I would like the men to lay down, just stay down, and fill canteens so they have some water. Make sure they're full, so they have extra water if needed during a battle.
Okay, understood. So we're sending out water parties.
Yep. Second order for myself is just I'm gonna get onto that hill to observe the front line.
Okay, understood.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, what do you got for me, Paloma?
Hey, so Miller's just marching down the road. What Winder's gonna co-locate with Tobias, and then he's just gonna have his cannons move up to where he was and set up there.
Okay, so we'll unlimber them. I will say I do like these cannon pieces for nice close-in battles.
Yeah, they look nice. Am I gonna have to do any dice rolling or?
That's completely up to you. I can run you and Ryan through the kind of like a quick tutorial with it. So actually,
Yeah, I've never done it before, so.
so let me actually grab a red and a blue dice. So I'm going to decide as the battle progresses if we're going to roll for each individual block, depending on how much time that takes. So let's say, so in a sense, the way it works is red and blue will roll dice. Oh, this is perfect. So red, 3 to 4, they would inflict 1 point of damage on the blue forces. 5 and a 6 roll means that blue would inflict 2 points of damage with muskets. 1 and 2 means no damage was inflicted on the other side.
Okay.
I know it sounds a little bit complicated, but once you start doing it, you kind of fall into a rhythm with it a little bit.
Okay, so 1 to 2 is no damage, 3 to 4 is British, and then 5 to 6 is American.
No, it's not side. So each side rolls their own dice. and the dice roll dictates how much damage they inflict on the other side.
Okay.
So once we get some combat going here on like the first couple turns, I'll
Okay, that is a fucking mess.
oh boy, what do we got?
No, it's just trying to talk to CIC. That dude is interesting. How far can cannons move?
Cannons, we'll say they're actually technically foot cannons. So let's say if we're letting the infantry move, we'll say they can move about 4.
Okay, they can get there. Okay, so can. Oh, okay, cannons are going to do this
Okay.
and deploy. Ross is going with his cannons. How far is infantry able to move?
At the most, we'll say 4.
Okay, they're just heading straight across here. So is there going to be a penalty for not taking the road?
Um. Yeah, make that. Yeah, and plus, are they moving in line or are they moving in marching column?
I'm going to assume they're going in column because they're rushing over here. That's what they're telling me.
Oh boy. Okay, so they're double timing it.
He didn't say double time, but like their plan is, like fucking Brooks is going to take all of his men, go this way, and then skirt up through the trees over here to try to flank.
Okay, interesting. Um. Go ask him real quick if he wants double time or not. You give the team an advantage, and they squander it. I love it.
No, no double time.
Okay, so we'll say about 4, and we'll say. And what is Thornton's troops doing?
They're going to march up and start in line. So he says he's going to move with CIC, but I'm assuming they're going to get up here because they're trying to be making as much noise as possible.
Well, they're also going to create a traffic jam here. So let's say they get up. This unit gets up here. This unit gets delayed.
We're going to try to get in front. I'm not sure if skirmishers they will make it through. We want to say they're able to make it through.
Skirmishers, yeah, we'll say they're able to make it through. Because they're not much of a formation. They're more or less just footmen.
Alright, and then Thornton is making as much noise as possible as marching. So the enemy should be able to hear him, I guess.
The militia would, yes. Okay, so for screenshots, any other orders from the British? Or was that it? Just this mess.
That's it for now. It's
Okay. Oh boy. Alright, so Thornton and Ross remain co-located. We'll say they can see the. There's woods there. The town. They can have them show them this block of militia, but cut the screenshot off.
So nothing else, just sit so they can see that there is militia on the other side.
Yeah, they can see some militia blocking the road on the other side of the bridge.
About a 4. That would be a 12 here. Alright, sounds good. I'll get a screenshot process.
Okay, and then Paloma, I'll send the same screenshot to Winder as Tobias gets.
Okay, sounds good.
Oh, I think he's playing a game too.
What was that?
Oh, sorry, I'm talking to my daughter.
Oh, okay. And time will be 10:10.
Alright, so get some more screenshots out. But yeah, no, they said specifically
and then we'll just handle dispatches ourselves.
Awesome. I don't. There shouldn't be any dispatches.
You never know with players sometimes. It's usually the CICs that get dispatch heavy pretty early on.
I caught your hand in that screenshot. Interesting.
Don't worry about it.
No problem. All right. I'm ready to start getting orders. You?
Yep, I think we're good.
Cool.
I'll co-locate Stansbury and Winder. And I'll get there 2 orders, Paloma, if you want to get Armistead and Miller.
Okay, yeah, I can do that.
Gentlemen,
Sir?
Yep.
so
What's going on?
so you have arrived at the top of the hill. Your men are filling canteens and laying down under the trees. As you look out over the ridge, you can see what seems to be a lot of British infantry, and you can hear drums, fifes. It seems that there might be a large force coming up that road towards you. You can see some cannon, and they are beginning to unlimber. No shots have been fired yet, though.
Wait, I'm on a hill?
Yes.
Join me because I moved up.
Let's see. Winder. Yep.
Is this white spot? Yeah, is this white spot a hill or is it like...
It's a hill. Behind you is a depression. So your troops behind you to the north are kind of in a valley. But but to the south you can see the British.
Oh. Okay. Can I get...
Everyone's going to plan so. Sorry, go ahead.
Can I go east a little bit with Tobias? A little bit east just so I can see the front of the Armistead's troops.
Okay. And then Winder, are you going to be not Winder, Stansbury, are you going to be accompanying him, or are you going to be remaining here?
I'll remain here. I can. It's not that far away. I should be able to just join him for this.
Yeah, also, if the enemy goes, like, if they break through Armistead's forces, will they be able to see Stansburg's forces? Sorry, Tobias's forces.
So Armistead's forces are kind of on the reverse, are kind of down a slope. So you guys are on top of the hill. It goes downhill, and that's where Armistead's forces are at the bottom of the hill.
Yeah.
So the British would probably not... You guys have positioned that you feel that any force on top of the hill may have to advance a little ways to see down into that valley.
They'd have to advance into the forest to see our forces, right?
Possibly. We'll see.
Yeah.
Any other orders at this time, gentlemen?
No, not at all.
Enough for me.
All right. Thank you. Okay. What do we got?
So Armistead just wants his guys, the militia, to hold where they are, and then Miller continues marching, but he wanted his skirmishers to double time down the road.
Okay, so we'll put them about there. And we'll move them a little bit forward. There we go. They should be. Yes.
Okay. So Ross is gonna have them engage. Then Thornton is gonna have his men start advancing on the left side of the cannons. He's still got this going on back here. So how far was they can move 4?
Yeah, roughly. Let's. Yeah. So that puts them
No,
about.
no, don't move that guy. So he wants them to be parallel to each other. So I'm gonna move this back unit so that they can catch up and then put the other guy parallel to him.
Ay, ay, ay. Okay.
So he wants to do like this. Oh, hold on. This is gonna become a mess real quick. Oh,
So is Thornton still bringing this regiment up?
yep. He wants them both on the left side of the cannon.
Alright, so let's see. Get to about there. These guys get to about there.
Rifles are going to advance until they can engage. What's the distance on the rifles?
The rifles, we'll make it 2.
That would be well. That'd be City of Blandenburg right in front of them.
Yeah. So we'll
So
say
to get, yeah,
they've taken up positions in the houses.
gunfight. Here it is.
If you right click on the pieces, they actually spawn their own gun smoke.
So it's cool as hell.
I know. I think Swentz used these pieces in a game a while back. Okay, so that's movement for the British, movement for the Americans. Okay, so...
Oh god, the Americans are arriving really fast.
Yeah, I'm thinking about that now. We probably should have had them wait a couple turns. But, I mean, it's not exactly historical, so we'll go with that. Alright, so cannons, we'll say, are firing at roughly long range. 4 and a 3. So cannons always, you take 1 off the effect, so this cannon actually fires a 2, which means they don't do any damage. This cannon fires a 3, so they do 1 damage to one of these units. So,
They saw this one here.
yeah, so we'll...
This.
So,
We have 4 now?
yeah, let's... with 1 damage, let's do this. I think what we're going to do is reset that to a 3. I think we're going to do this for each unit. We'll scale that down, and then we'll make that one a 4. And we'll say they pull back a little bit. And then the skirmishers, because they've got rifles, are the Americans in range? Those skirmishers are just out of range for smoothbore muskets. So we'll use the same, and they both roll 1s, so they're not doing any damage. Okay. So, British cannons have opened fire, hitting some of the troops on Armistead's Maryland militia. They're kind of pulling back, and there are skirmishers now in the town of Bladensburg that are firing, but most of their rounds are hitting these breastworks, we'll say. And that should be it. And there's still noticeable movement on the British side in the distance.
Alright, like they can see about up to, like, that the unit pulled back, and that's it?
Yeah. Yep. And Winder and Tobias remain co-located. and time will be 10:20. And Paloma will do the same thing as last time. I'll handle Winder and Tobias. You can handle Armistead and Miller.
Okay, sounds good. Should I include the British skirmishers in Armistead's screenshot?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. He knows that he's being fired upon, and also show him just the cannon. Show him like that.
Okay.
Yep. So he knows there's cannons firing on him, and he knows there's some infantry there.
Okay, sounds good.
Alright, so screenshots, and I'll start getting orders. Gentlemen. Whoop, hello?
Yep.
Okay, so you have both moved east slightly. Actually, let me do this. It's not reflected in your screenshot, but Tobias Stansbury, due to your quick thinking with the canteens, your men have regained a point of cohesion. They're somewhat cooling off under the trees, not really concerned. But as you guys move east, you can hear some British light artillery opening up to the south. And also, you can see that there are skirmishers, it seems like, or riflemen, in the town of Bladensburg firing across the Potomac River at your militia. Some of the British cannons have landed on the troops that are guarding the northern end of the bridge there, and some of those men have begun to pull back a little bit.
Yep. Now those gray, those brownish blocks there, are those the line infantry, or is that? It's hard to tell from this distance.
The ones at the very bottom of your screenshot?
Yes.
Those are, yep, sorry, those are supposed to be British infantry. They're like a reddish brown. They're like a brick color.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are the British able to see me or what?
What was that?
Are the British able to see me or what?
You have not taken any rounds yet. But that one, there do seem to be some British troops that are in line formation, marching directly towards you across the Potomac. That's what that flag is. You can see their flags in the front of their column.
I see that Miller is to the northeast. You might want to go meet up with him so you can organize his line.
Yeah, I think I can meet up with him.
Yes, and directly to your east, there are some riflemen that have arrived, and they were running down the road, so it looks like they're starting to get relatively winded.
Is that militia, or is that militia riflemen, or is that like regular troops?
Militia riflemen.
Understood.
Yeah, I'll go to Miller.
Okay.
I will stay here, and I would like to issue another order to my men. The essential order is basically just to tell the officers just to look to me, and if I raise my hand, that's to tell the men to rise up and prepare to advance.
Understood.
Just quick, easy communication.
Hand signals, and there's no smoke yet, so you should be good.
Yes.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Hey.
What do you got?
For Miller, in his screenshot, I didn't go out wide enough to include the artillery on the left. Should the screenshot be large enough for him to know that the artillery's there?
Did you tell him the artillery was there?
Not yet.
Uh,
I can go back.
Yeah, let him know that let him know that there's American artillery just to the east side of the road from his lead troops set up.
Okay, sounds good. And then Armistead, just keeping his troops where they are, and if possible, try to fire at the enemy, but I don't know if they're in range.
Okay. We'll see if they're just out. Okay. Yep. Go ahead and tell Miller about the cannons.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
time to relimber?
It's going to take pretty much a whole turn to relimber and start moving.
Alright, so he's going to look for. Is there a taller building in Bladensburg?
This building here is probably a church.
Okay, so he's going to move to that, see if he can see what's going on.
Okay.
These cannons. Am I able to just delete this?
Yeah. Yep. Because it'll respawn if you right-click on the cannons and hit spawn gun smoke. Here, let's.
Oh, it's probably because you didn't promote me.
Oh, okay. And then also, if you right-click on the cannons, you can hit limbered, and they do that.
So they're going to spend this turn limbering.
Where are they moving to? I should ask that. Okay, so we'll say they start moving down the road a little bit, but they're not going to reach there. Okay.
Then Thornton's guys are going to start advancing towards the cricket ground.
Are they going to go back all in line or keep this?
Well, he said open order advance.
Then we'll say they keep their current formation. And these guys, we'll say get to about there.
I'm super terrified that there's a cannon over here.
We'll say these two are still coming up.
These guys. And Thornton is going to stay with CIC.
Okay, so they're firing.
He's not going to be able to see his guys over there. He can see the corner of them, but that's it.
Oh, he's gonna move with CIC. Yeah, we'll discuss that here in a. Yeah, they're in a church. They're in a bell tower of a church, but he is probably gonna have some penalties actually issuing orders to his troops. But we'll figure that out here moving forward. What's Brooks doing?
Already moved him.
Oh, okay.
He's continuing that movement.
That movement. Yeah, he's gonna go around here, march through the woods. And the next best crossing is, you could probably ford here, but no.
I think they can ford anywhere from what you're saying.
Yeah, they're gonna get a penalty though. The best place for them to cross would be up here, but they're gonna run smack dab into this militia up here.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're good there. So let's start doing some rolls here. Paloma, what were Miller's orders to his riflemen this turn?
So he wants his militia to move in the left here to support this side of the militia. And he just wants his skirmishers, there too. And then this group of militiamen to move in that same direction.
Okay, so we'll say they get there. And we'll say their leading element gets about there.
Okay. And then his artillery are gonna split off and set up next to Tobias's regulars, and then he wants his regulars to set up behind the artillery, and he'll stay with those units.
Okay, gotcha.
Should I let them know that they're fighting militia now that they can probably see that all the formation of it?
Yes, and since all the militia aren't firing yet, yeah. Yep, they'll know that they're fighting militia. So, let's do riflemen versus 5 and a 6, so... say that's a 3, actually. No, that's a 2, because the British are fresh. Okay, then over here. Alright, the Americans roll. Americans rolled a 4. And the British roll a 6 and a 4. So the Americans started at 3 here. So 5, 6. Oh.
wavering. Okay.
Yep, so they're going to start pulling back. And the cannons aren't in effect this turn. So, Paloma, was this where Miller was last turn? Or did you...
Yeah, that's where he was last turn. He's just
Okay.
gonna move here.
So we'll say the militia are doing that. We'll say he's off to the side here. And we'll say the regulars are just getting off the road.
Marines have arrived.
with their artillery, as Marines love to do. Okay, so
This is an interesting tactic of making one flank entirely militia.
yeah, I noticed that, but the Americans are light on regular troops. So yeah, we had this interesting thing that everyone's just gonna be militia and do very light training. Okay, so the British skirmishers are doing some damage to American militia who are trying to engage them across the creek here. And on the left, Thornton can see that his troops are engaged on the far left, but it seems the American fire is going back into the woods. So probably on his. Yeah, give them. Yeah, because they're in the church tower. So give them on the hill. Show them the gun smoke here. Show them the flag, just the flag. They'll probably be able to see the flag from up there. Yes. Yep. And then Armistead is kind of on the hill. He'll be able to see the cannons coming down the road. He'll be able to see pretty much all the leading British units.
Okay.
Yep. And I'll do Tobias and Armistead this turn.
Okay. Sounds good.
I got.
What penalty are we going to give Ross for ordering his troops? Or not Ross, Thornton.
His orders might not arrive in time. Let's let him know that he is a distance away from his troops. A little bit of a distance, so there may be some delay in his orders, but we'll see what he tries to order. And we'll go from there. So time will be 10:30. And Armistead. Alright, and I'll take Armistead and Stansbury. And let me separate. We move Winder to Miller. And should be good to go. Hello, Colonel Armistead.
Hello.
Hello. So, some of your militia have tried to advance and return fire at the British skirmishers harassing your flank. It seems that the British riflemen are doing some damage to your militia, and they may not continue that course of action. But on the western side, you see that the British are beginning to advance in relatively open order, and they have engaged your far western flank. The militia on that flank are not breaking yet, but they are beginning to pull back from the ramparts there.
Mm. Yeah, okay.
And then behind you, the militia under the command of Captain Miller has arrived and is moving into position on top of the hill.
Alright. Okay, give me a minute. Yeah, so what I'd like to do is to move that depleted unit of militia behind the other two fresh units of militia on the western side,
Okay.
and pull back the unit on the far eastern side.
Okay.
Yep, that's it.
All right. Thank you, General Stansbury.
Yes.
So, you can see that the British are beginning to advance in relatively open order, but there do seem to be a fair amount of them. You can hear more skirmishing happening off in the distance in the village of Bladensburg. But just below you in the valley, two units of British regulars have begun engaging the flank of Colonel Armistead's militia. And the militia there are beginning to give some ground and seem to be pulling back out of range of those British muskets. You cannot hear any artillery at this time, though.
Before I could. That's right.
That is correct, yes. That's it. That was what opened this whole affair.
Yep. Okay. Is my screenshot reduced because of the smoke? Or no, it's the same size. Never mind. That second screenshot I got, where so I just want to return to that position. Sort of like on the eastern side, still.
Okay, like you're where you first met,
Yeah.
where you first met up with Winder.
Yes.
Okay.
I want to return to there just so I can just see where my men are and also get a good line of sight on hopefully where the British flank will be.
Understood. Any other orders at this time?
None yet.
All right. Thank you. Yep, I'm here. What do you got for me?
Alright. Okay. So Thornton wanted to know if he can deploy skirmishers out of his militia.
One of his companies can act as skirmishers.
That's what I was asking. Like, if there are any skirmishers not useful and bring about the co-commander skill. So like, basically what he was doing is just get him engaged but not cross the trench.
Let's see. They're going to be at extreme range.
Are they not able to engage?
I mean, the militia are kind of using the breastworks, so we'll say they are.
And then same thing with this guy. Look at this guy. He's down here, left on the left side. Are they able to get over here? Cannons, are they going to be deployed now?
Yes. Yep. Okay, so...
Nothing about them shooting, so...
Well, do we want to say they'll just target the... Yeah, they'll probably... Really, the only angle they have is down the road.
So it's frustrating because that guy is like blowing me.
we're just so you know, we're recording, so...
Oh, my bad.
I'll see if I remember to edit it out. There's been worse things said about players on the recordings. Believe me.
You got a YouTube channel, or where does it go?
It goes on the IKS YouTube, so I told you where the Umpire videos were.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where these get uploaded to.
Awesome. I'll check it out.
Let me scale that one down. Then Paloma, I see you're taking care of these units up here.
Yeah.
Anything special going on with them?
Not really. The regulars are just getting into reserve formation, and then the militia are still forming up a line over in this direction. And then oh shoot. Just had Winder move up to the right side of the militia front line. And I think he wants to be co-located with Armistead.
Yeah, we'll co-locate them. They'd be close enough. I'd imagine a colonel seeing his commander ride up just 100 yards away from him, he'd ride to him. Okay, so let me start doing some combat here. Yeah, the British are taking an entire, like pretty much their bulk of their forces out of this battle right now. So let's see what the skirmishers do. Actually, yeah, skirmishers don't do it. Continue to not do anything. Cannons.
They're also not bringing in their regulars to fight off the British either. They're just letting the militia do it right now.
Right. Well, I think that's part of their tactic, because these regulars, the British are probably going to have to be about here to see down into that valley. So right now, I mean, those regulars are going to be hidden for a while. Well, actually, now this one's on top of the valley.
Might work out for the British.
It might.
Because if they're in the woods over here, I'm not even sure these militia are going to be able to see them until they're almost at the top.
Yeah, but they're going to be tired when they get there. I'd say about here we're going to give them a point of exhaustion, because now they're trudging through pretty much marshland in the humidity with all their kit, and yeah, they're going to start slowing down once they hit those woods. Okay, so skirmishers aren't doing anything. The cannons, more hits on this unit here. They're starting to give ground. Alright, now let's roll for British. Roll a 3. Let me scale this down. Just copy that. Make it easier. Okay, so the Americans roll 3s. Bam, bam. And the British, actually the British, one American unit has rolled 3. So 1, 4, and 4. And then one more British unit on that. They miss. So over here, take that one away. Say they fire there, one. And then British roll, oh boy, 2 5s, so 4 5. And one more, 4. Would we say this is a flanking? Nah, they got the breastworks there, so they just begin pulling back. But, and Thornton specifically said his men are not to cross the creek.
Yeah.
Alright, so we'll say these guys move up kind of like that, but they're not crossing the creek. We'll say there's smoke starting to form. I wish this smoke was a little bit higher contrast. Okay, so here the smoke isn't building up yet. So I would say for the British, they can see into the woods, they can see kind of the breastworks, but they can't tell if there's any return fire yet, but they can tell their troops have advanced and aren't really taking any casualties. Here, they can just see the first 2 lines of militia. Ross can't see into the smoke, so like maybe his screenshot cuts off here and then goes around. So like he can see the militia kind of moving up the hill in bad shape. Yep. We'll say that unit is in reserve. Okay. And then I'll handle Paloma. I'll handle Winder and Armistead this turn. So Tobias, he can see he can't really see into the woods. He can see this militia unit pulling back. Screenshot cuts back. And then I would say he can see to just the leading edge of the 3rd British unit. But he can hear the cannons going off.
Okay, sounds good. And I don't know if this makes a difference, but Miller wanted to unlimber his artillery, and if they're in range, they start firing.
They cannot see anything because even though they're on top of, I think this hill here is lower elevation than this one, so they're completely blocked by a hill.
Okay.
And I would say his screenshot, like, only go over the lip of the hill, but he can see Tobias, Winder, and Armistead on their horses. That's what he can see here. And he can see, like, maybe the 3 units of his militia.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, so...
And I got dispatches, screenshots and dispatch, and copy. And it's 10:40 now.
Yes. So this is going to Winder and Armistead.
Almost sent the wrong tweet up there.
I've almost done that a couple times.
I did it last game.
Yeah, it was with me.
He just teleported across the field.
Usually I mess up the collocations before I'm always very cautious about the screenshots. I always double check the channels. But the
So if you didn't put a to location, you said from Ross time and to Rook.
that's fine. Yeah. Yep. Live games we got heat-seeking couriers. It's too much to track with this small of a game. Like if we I know with like the grand games they do with like 50 plus players. You've also got like 20 plus umpires. So you can track dispatches a little bit easier.
Alright, I am going to start shooting the updates.
Same here. And let me move Winder to Armistead. Gentlemen,
Put
Hello.
them.
hello. So, General Winder, as you move up to the top of the hill, you are greeted by some militia who are retreating from the breastworks. Um,
Yeah.
you can see in front of them. There's quite the cloud of smoke settling into that valley there. You can hear the rattle of muskets in front of them and to the edge of where you can see some British troops, but they are starting to fade. Uh, Behind them, in a gap in the smoke, and also audibly, you can hear more cannons thundering. And the infantry, the militia that were once again holding the bridge originally, are pulling back even more to the top of the hill. They're taking more hits from those cannons, and it seems
Where's Miller's skirmishers? I just want to know.
it seems that they have gone east. They may be east of the militia that are on top of the hill there. Other than that, that was the last you saw of them.
Yeah, I want the Miller's skirmishers and the militia to go like it's weird. Yeah, to go east where I'm at, not like the other line of infantry beside me.
The ones behind you, like to the northeast of you.
Yeah, the militia northeast of me.
Hmm.
Yeah, I want them to push up and attack from the northeast on the hills
Okay.
with the skirmishers to fire at them from the northeast. Try to draw their attention to the northeast side.
Okay. Any other orders at this moment?
About it. Armistead though, we want to get your yeah, get them retreating on the east, but we want them to fire. I think you want them to start. We could retreat them right now and get them on the hills. British, I'm sure, are gonna start pushing right now.
Now? Or I reckon I can hold for one more turn before retreating. I'm not sure.
Listen, we can't finish them over here. We want to put them on a. We want to put them on a trap here. We're not gonna
Right,
finish them
copy.
over here. You want to put them on the
Copy that.
hills where I'm at and start attacking from the northeast. We want to draw their
Yep,
attention on the northeast.
Copy that.
If they go to
Falling
the
back to
west,
the
yeah, if they go to the northwest, where the plan's not gonna go well. So we need
Yep,
to draw
copy
them to the
that.
northeast. Yeah.
Copy that. Falling back to the northeast then.
So is it all your militia, Colonel Armistead, or is it just your eastern unit of militia?
I actually want the western unit to start moving to the northeast first.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Yeah, the eastern unit can probably hold for another turn just to keep them there. Just to keep their eyes to the east.
Okay. Understood. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Can I also write to Tobias? I don't know how I'm gonna do the location thing though.
Just where you're going to ride to his position.
Not right now.
Okay. You guys can send dispatches, so just post them in your channel.
It's just gonna be difficult because he's not in a marked location. He's not in a landmark or.
We don't need landmarks for the dispatches. We just need who they're from and who they're going to and the time you're sending them.
Really? Okay.
Yep. That's too much. Yeah, location and everything. That's too much tracking for a live game. We've got heat-seeking couriers this game.
Okay, I see.
So yeah, just go ahead and post it in your channel, and one of the umpires will deliver it for when it's supposed to get there. Most dispatches should arrive next turn, unless they're hindering circumstances. Any other orders at this moment, gentlemen?
Be it. So I guess move the western line, western militia, to the northeast a bit, and just fire at British as they come through the bridge on the northeast. I think that's the plan.
Okay,
Yeah.
understood. Thank you, gentlemen. Hey, what do you got for me?
Uh,
Alright. Oh,
I
my
think
bad.
you might have moved a couple of Miller's units. I think these militia and the skirmishers might have been his.
They were, but they were ordered by Winder, who outranks
Okay,
Miller. Yep. So,
sounds good. And then for Miller, he was just asking if with the artillery where they are located at right now, are they able to shoot at if the British like cross the road? Can the artillery reach like this position from where they are?
no. So the artillery, as of right now, would probably be able to reach the U.S. this flag.
Okay.
Yep.
If they move here, would that change anything in terms of range?
This battery's probably in a little bit better position to as they crest the hill.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
Alright,
I'll go let him know, but I don't think there's any changes to the orders.
Okay.
alright, so the British, the units that have no disruption are going to cross the crypt and try to pursue the militia that were right here. So since they moved back, I'm not sure how that's going to change things.
All right. So let's.
And the ones that have disruption, he's going to pull back a little bit and have them rest.
So let's say they clone. Let's say they take two. Yeah, let's say they take one crossing that. Oh, that was weird.
He's like, I want them in even more open order. I don't know. Let's see what the militia is today. They're already in open order.
Right. Yeah, they're not in like one giant line or anything. Let's. Alright, so they're pursuing the militia up the hill. They've taken one disruption point from crossing the river. These guys are out. It's going to take them a little bit to regain some stuff. Any orders for the skirmishers in the town?
Nothing.
Okay.
They're still skirmishing. The cannons want to specifically fire on these guys here.
Yeah, they can make that happen with... Yeah, they can make that happen. Okay. Alright, so let's roll for the cannons first. Nothing, one. Just get that out of there. Three, one. Okay, skirmishers. They're not facing a return fire, but geez, oh man, those skirmishers must have gotten issued new rifles that they do not know how to use. I don't think the skirmishers have done. I think that one unit that came forward, they did some damage to, but other than that, they have done nothing. Oh, these guys are skirmishing now too. Yeah, let's see if they do any damage. Probably not, because they're going to be in houses. Oh, they rolled a 5. Alright. So we'll turn them that way. Actually, we'll keep them this way, since they inflicted some damage. Scale that up. Still smoke in the town. Okay.
These guys are fighting over here.
Yeah, let me see if I can move this smoke like that, even though it's not really that noticeable. Let's see, what happens if I scale it up? It's a little bit noticeable, but not by much. Okay, so let's see. Ross, he can't see these units in the town, but he in the woods here. He's lost sight of them, but he can see American militia on top of the hill putting up some kind of fight.
We will see these guys now coming over.
Probably the first. Yeah, let's say the first two, because there's a little bit of a crest there. So the first 2 units and the skirmishers. Let's see. Are they all broken up? Yep, they are. Okay. All right. Let's.
Have you rolled these guys?
Oh, I did not. Good call. So let me move that because it's 2-on-1. British roll of 5, 2, 3, 5. Oh, 6 and a 5 and a 1. So.
Oh wow. Howard, the militia's putting up more of a fight than what I thought.
So these guys are routing. Let's see. These guys are already pulling back.
Isn't there a thing where if a unit routes next to another one that
These guys would probably get a point of disruption, so they're going to pull back actually. And we'll say just to show these guys advance a little bit. Okay. Thornton, he can kind of see the back of his 2 units here, and then maybe wrap the screenshot around, and he can see just 1 unit of militia putting up a fight on top of the hill. So you can hear the sound of roll. Why do I hear "Roll Britannia" growing louder and louder? Okay, so I'll handle Winder and Armistead again, Paloma, and you can handle Tobias and Miller.
Okay.
Tobias, he can see the flank of the British, and he can see these 2 units down here, and maybe Thornton himself.
Okay.
Yep.
and Ross is gonna have
Yes. So.
wait for hands to God to go in.
As long as it's not obstructing anything key, you're almost always guaranteed to get hands in a screenshot, especially on a map this size. 1050.
Go yes.
Oh. I accidentally copied a dispatch when I meant to put the image in.
And then Brooks, since he's in the woods, he's probably not gonna be able to see these guys.
No, he would not.
See the edge of the creek.
Yeah. Yep, you can see the edge of the creek, and he can hear a ton of musket fire and some cannons going off, but it's all quiet to the northwest. If he manages to slide into this gap here, that could be a very interesting situation. It could be either very good or very bad for the British.
I think it's gonna be very good because he's gonna pop out at militia.
Right.
However, his men are gonna be tired.
Yeah, next round we're going to give him up. Actually,
Give him like an update that like your men are starting to get tired marching through the woods.
have you done his screenshot yet?
I just got a screen. Oh, okay, no, I'll redo it. I'll just redo it here.
Okay.
So you can't see much.
Okay. I'm gonna go get orders from Armistead and Winder.
Yep.
Hello, gentlemen. So,
Yeah.
uh,
Miller's cannons firing. I just want to know.
uh, from where they're positioned, Miller's cannons do not have an angle on below because you're looking down into a valley, and hit where his cannons are sitting is actually a little bit lower elevation than the hill you guys are on.
Damn it. I'm gonna tell him that.
And as you are sitting there, and Armistead's militia in the west begin pulling up the hill, you see one unit of men just break, and they are now darting back towards Washington. There's no cohesion, probably little chance of getting them back. It seems that their route had an effect on the unit directly in front of you as they are giving ground. You can't really see what's happening in the woods below, but you can still hear a fair amount of musket fire coming your way. There's definitely some lead whizzing nearby. Then you can also hear that there are British cannons opening up once again near Bladensburg. And this time they seem to be taking fire at the men behind the breastworks that have been stationed there instead of that poor unit that's taken all their fire so far.
Yep.
You can see that Miller's skirmishers, riflemen, have arrived and are beginning to return fire to the British skirmishers inside the town itself.
What? Last part. What was that?
There are British skirmishers, those green dots down at the bottom, those are British riflemen.
Yeah. The militia to my east. Is that? It's Miller's, right?
Yes, that was the one that you commanded earlier.
Yeah.
Yep.
I want them. Yeah. I want them in front of me, covering this breaking unit. That's about it.
Okay. For me,
Yeah,
I think I want to pull the units on the western side, pull them back even further east, under the
Further
cover of
east.
the
No, no, no,
unit.
no, no, no.
Huh?
Get them north, dude.
Northeast, northeast. Yeah. Okay. Northeast.
On the hills.
northeast.
Make sure they fire at the one moving to from the west. Get their attention from the west. We need to
Yeah.
make them give chase to us on the east.
Yeah. So fall back in good order towards the hills in the northeast and keep firing at them on the way back.
Okay. And what about your unit to the direct south that's still holding those earthworks there? Are they still to remain in place?
They need to hold there for.
Yeah. What?
I think they need to hold there for a bit longer to let the other militia get to the west.
Yeah. Well, can we have that one to the west actually cover? Make sure they don't break us from the north. The west, most western line on the breastworks. Can we have them? The western one, the most western one, to cover my little fallback until the militias, until Miller's militia covers me.
Okay.
Yeah, but we're gonna be once Miller's militia gets to me, we're gonna fire and make sure they fire until they follow us. Fire until they follow us. Just to make them follow us to the east. So do a feigned retreat east. Make sure they follow us.
Okay. Any other orders at this time?
That should be about it.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Hey,
What do you got?
so Tobias is gonna ride back to his troops and then order them to advance towards the British line and start firing and moving towards them if they get in range.
Okay, so let's say they make it to about there. These guys are only going to make it to about there. Because they're crossing the creek and now they're going uphill.
Yep.
No shot. Well, let's see what the British are ordering here. I should.
And then,
Go ahead.
Miller was asking, looks like his units were at 2 disruption, and the Tobias's units but he's asking why.
That's what they started at. They've been marching all day.
Okay.
And Tobias's troops did start at 2, but he actually had a couple turns where he specifically ordered his men to fill up canteens, get plenty of water, and rest under the trees. So I gave him a point back for that, for clever thinking.
Okay. Made sense. Cool.
Should I roll to see if these militia here break, just full on rout? Because they've been ordered to retreat to the northeast, but they're pretty wavering and they're being pressed. Well, actually, let's see. Okay, what do you got for us, Ryan?
So Thornton is going to have his guys try to that have crossed the river, trying to regroup up if they're scattered, which they kind of are. So I'm going to guess like this guy's going to pull back,
Okay. And we'll say it goes like that.
and his guys on this side of the river that are going to. They were supposed to do it last turn. I brought it up. I'm not sure if it did, but they're supposed to be resting, so I'm not sure if their thing goes down.
It takes a full turn to do that. What are their orders this turn?
Rest.
Okay, so we'll bring.
He wants everyone to rest, reform, and then rest.
Okay, so they can't go the whole way back to 0. So let's say they go back to 1. These guys stay here, so we'll give them a point back. But now they're being engaged on the flank.
Cannons are going to continue firing, so this guy's walked up into that.
Yeah, they're going to get a nice flanking shot now. Skirmisher orders, or they're still in the town itself?
There's still. I brought up to Thornton that like, hey, skirmishers up, his orders. He didn't say anything about it, so they're still in the town, blinking along.
All right. And then what we got with Brooks here? You moved him.
Yep, I moved him.
How far did you move him? Where was he at? Where was he at last turn?
Let's see, he was about here.
Let's move him because he's going through the woods. We'll move him to about there. It's slow going. I mean, that's pretty much a swamp. So, I don't think for his screenshot he's going to see the militia quite yet. But maybe there's a rumor, or maybe someone is saying that they think they see something at the bend of the creek. Actually, let's do a Slock Patton here. 4. Yep, there's someone thinks they see someone at the end of the creek, at the bend of the creek, up where there's the river crossing.
Maybe he has like some scouts up there that they're working with or something.
Right. Yep, but he cannot see them in his screenshot.
Got it.
Let's see. All right, let's start rolling for some combat here. All right, cannons. Oof, 6. So that is a 6 plus another point because they're hit. Oh boy. So they just got a cannonball right up their line. So they're now breaking.
And they take a point. Yep.
They take a point. They're wavering. Let's see what the British. Let's see what that engagement looks like. They'd probably get a volley in at the British. Oof. Okay.
Ooh.
So they are also done.
More huzzahs.
They are now routed. The British do take a 3. I'll leave the gun smoke there to let Thornton know his men were engaged there. Let's see. That's cannons. That's the British.
Oh god, the regulars are coming in.
Let's see. What have we been doing for Thornton recently? Where can he see where he's at?
He can't see to the top of that hill due to smoke.
Well,
He's not gonna be able to see him.
well, they're still going to be beyond the crest of the hill.
Maybe banners. He can start seeing banners coming over.
Actually, let's... No. Nope. No banners. So his screenshot cuts like right at the crest of the hill.
I've been barely giving him into this smoke, so.
At this point...
Starting to clear up a little bit.
let's see. Yeah, it's starting to clear a little bit. He can see all of his men in there.
Okay. But nothing past the top of this hill.
Right. Yep. I'd give him to about here.
Okay, just the crest of it.
Yep. And he he can see Winder. He can see some of the militia up there. Actually, what I'll do is throw that in there. He can see some militia scattering, going back up the hill.
Nice. And then Ross, is he able to see it?
Uh,
He's in the church tower. I mean, that would be far.
uh, yeah, he'd be able to see the flags at that point. The smoke is clearing. He'd be able to see the flags.
I'll put a flag.
Yep, and he can see this militia running, and he can see to about here. Okay, so flag for Ross, no flag for Thornton. And we'll say these guys go back here because they're running. I feel like we're missing a token. Winder, Miller. Where did Armistead go?
Ross's screenshot. Now let's get Thornton. Hand of God in there. Nice. Tiny little screenshot for Brooks.
Okay, and then Paloma, I'll still handle. Why did I flip that? There we go. I'll still handle Winder and Armistead.
Okay.
For Tobias, his men are having some tough going crossing the creek down here. Actually, I'll give those guys a point back if you haven't already taken the screenshot. And they cannot see over the crest of the hill yet. So his screenshot cuts off about here.
Okay. Sounds good.
It is now 11.
Yes. So this is going to... Winder has to...
Alright.
Okay, and then Paloma, just make sure Miller knows about his cannons and their range. Actually, yeah. Actually, let me flip these guys around because they're technically staring. They're technically the regulars are just staring down the barrels of their own cannons. Which the way this. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, go ahead. How many grids would you say they can reach right now?
I think we said about here, at that position, and these ones up here can fire to like almost the crest of the hill, because they're on like the same elevation. These guys are actually a lower elevation, so they're
Okay.
they're probably like right about here actually.
Sounds good. Cool.
Hello.
Yes. This is good. Good.
Well,
Good.
well, your militia would beg to differ. The two units that you sent to entice the British have completely broken. They first received a volley from some well-disciplined British regulars, and then they had a bunch of cannonballs on the one unit who had its flank in the air to the cannons. They had a couple good cannonballs rip down their rank. So now you, the two units that you of Armistead's that you sent to kind of probe that British attack on the other side of the river, they are completely shattered, and they're making their way back to Washington.
Yeah. We're gonna get all the units of Armistead to go on this hill and just keep firing at them. Keep getting them on the eastern side.
Mm.
Get them fire on the east.
Okay, and you can see some of Tobias Stanberry's regulars coming up the hill.
enemy notice them at all, or what?
It seems that the enemy has not noticed them, and it seems as if the regulars have not crested the hill enough to see down into the valley yet.
Yeah, I think this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get all my troops that are with me right now. To start. We're gonna start doing a slight retreat back. I'm gonna go rally with them all, and then we'll start falling back to the east a little bit. I'll give them all my canteens, and we'll just tear.
Okay.
Well, just keep just gradually go back east a little bit.
And does that include the
But
units down by the river crossing?
yeah, so we're gonna just retreat a little bit, but we have to make sure they're chasing us. So just gradually retreat to the east. Yeah.
Okay. And then Colonel Armistead, any follow-up orders on that?
Nope, just yep, move back, retreat. Just begin a slight retreat in good order to the northeast.
Okay.
Make sure the enemy follows us. That's the important thing. But yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Hey.
What do you got?
So Miller's just gonna move his forces to where um, Tobias's forces were in the forest, about there, and then Tobias is just gonna have his troops continue to advance. And he said once they're within distance where they can fire, to fire their shot and then to charge the enemy.
Oh boy. Okay, so these guys land about there. These guys make it about there. Okay, we'll see what the British do. Interesting, this...
Do the breastworks work from both sides? Like, can the British use those breastworks?
Yes.
Alright, be right back. Alrighty.
Alright, what do you got?
So Brooks wants to send
Okay.
So they're gonna fall behind, but he wants two up front to screen his movement.
Okay, and now are they continuing to advance?
Yep.
Okay, so
So from here, is it gonna be two?
yeah, so these guys are gonna end up there. Let's say there they come out of the woods. And his skirmishers are engaged. This flank is in the air, so alright. I'll roll for that in a second. What else we got?
So the rest of Brooks' men are gonna be crossing the creek and getting behind his breastworks.
Okay.
His crossings lift up. The cannons are going to limber. Then Ross is moving to Thornton. Thornton just moved, so he's gonna probably follow him over. Taking instructions. Oh, he hasn't crossed yet. Okay.
Nope, he hasn't crossed yet. Let's see, Gunsmoke here. And we'll say Gunsmoke there, because... So the Americans are coming over the crest of the hill, firing a volley, and then charging the British.
And the British are in defensive positions.
Right. So, okay. Where are the cannons going?
They're limbering up. They're gonna move. So I'm gonna guess they make it there. They just don't unlimber. They're moving up just like to here.
Honestly, they can. What they can? How far is that?
Not far.
Yeah, they.
Right here. It's like almost 0.5, just over.
They don't have to limber the guns for that. They can just push them, but they can't fire yet. And we'll also. Let's see.
I'm not sure if this is going really good for the British or not yet. Like, the Americans are not outflanking.
Right, but.
Hitting the militia.
And the British haven't lost any units yet. The Americans have lost almost an entire regiment of militia that are now streaming back towards Washington.
But the Americans also outnumber the British already.
Right. What I should do is... So these guys are wavering. They just saw a bunch of their buddies start running. Let's see. So what, we're rolling 4 dice. 4 times 6, that's 24. Let's say if it's 18 plus, we'll have a unit route. It's 15. And let's say it adds a... no, that takes into broken. Okay. Let's say this unit decides to just pull back to the other side of the line just to be safe. So they're seeing those guys running, and they're like, "Yeah, let's pull it back a little bit."
What's the distance on artillery?
The artillery we were doing, I believe, 4. But they would, but they just pushed the guns forward. The guys need a break, so we'll say they didn't have to unlimber, but they had to push the guns forward. They can't fire yet. Okay, so you have a bunch of British skirmishers coming out of the woods at you on your flank. So we'll say +1. Oof. Okay, so... Oh, Paloma, could you move your hand, please? Thank you. You're good. So let's see. 3... And because it's a flank attack, +1, so 5 and a 5. So that takes them to 5. Oof. Alright, so they are... All of a sudden you're standing there with your buddies, and all of a sudden a bunch of British are coming out at you at the flank.
This is not healthy for the Americans here.
No, it's...
I wonder if they're going to scramble to try to meet this, or what's going to happen.
So this line is they're kind of wheeling. Disorganized.
Rook's able to see this now.
Put him, because he sees his skirmishers run up and begin firing. I would imagine he rides up to a position where he can see what's going on. Yeah, I would have him see these 2 units, and maybe some of the routing militia.
Yeah.
Okay, now to
Still is art.
now to resolve this mess. Oh boy. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4 versus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 behind breastworks. So let's take a point off the American rolls.
Oh.
Okay, so
1 and 1 versus 2 and 3.
clone, let's say that goes there. 2. So the Americans missed. So those 2 Americans missed their volley. The British land some. And that's a 3. That's what TTS is calling it. Okay, so the Americans land a 3. Oh, actually, yeah, that one's a 3, and that one just goes up 1 because of the earthworks. But the British roll a 3, and we've got one more British unit that rolls a 5. So then 4, 5. So these guys pull back and refuse to charge. So the Americans come in. So that's the volley.
Their orders come over and charge down the hill.
Come over the hill, fire a volley, and then charge.
Oh no.
Alright, let's get rid of that. 1. Alright, so usually the defenders get a chance to fire and repulse. So the British fire another 4 and a 5, so that goes up to 2, that goes up to 3. That one unit refuses to charge, so now they're faced with the fire of 3 British units. So 3, 5.
And if it hits, then it's gonna go back as refusing to charge.
Yep, their charge gets broken. So these guys are now trying to take over these ramparts here. Alright.
Well, these guys have to cross the stream if they're trying to get over.
Oh yeah, that's true, that's true. Alright, so let me put the gunsmoke back here, because they're firing across... So really, the Americans only have 1 company that's going in right now, so... let me re-roll for that. Hold on. Let me just grab 2 dice. Oof, 1 and a 1. Okay. Alright, so... Let's see, how do we best describe this? The Americans come over the hill just as the British are reorganized, fire their volley. The British manage to fire back, and because the British have this kind of in-depth situation now, they manage to get a second volley off as the Americans are charging down the hill. They're halting 2 of the American companies. 1 British company, I'll actually move them back to show that they're on the other side of the creek there. And this American unit is now engaged in hand-to-hand combat with these British troops. So, how do we represent this on the screenshot? Thornton. They can... we do not. But they're right on top of one another, so I'd imagine that would do enough. Yeah. Yep. They can see these 2 units up here. And they can see... Yep. And they can see the musket smoke from here. And that's about it.
They're not able to see flags cut off like right here.
Yeah. Yep. So we'll put it there. Paloma, I'll continue handling Winder and Armistead if you want to get Tobias's orders. Are you pretty clear on how to describe that situation to him?
I think so, yeah. Is he able to see everything over here?
He is able to see. I would give him to about here.
Okay.
Move that. And these guys would probably be able to hear the musket fire to their rear. Okay.
And can Miller see the battle that Tobias is having?
No. He can see he can see these two units on top of the crest of the hill.
Okay.
And let them know that they're not let them know that they're pulling back a little bit, but they're not full on routing.
Okay.
And that there were more troops of Tobias's that went over the hill after firing a volley. Yep. Okay. Hello, gentlemen. So,
What happened to the regulars in my west?
so they advanced. They fired a volley and then went down over the hill. But some of them, it seemed the British returned fire, and it seemed that some of them caught a pretty bad volley and did not go back down over the hill. But also, interestingly enough, as your men start to quiet down, you can hear musket fire to the northeast. That sounds like it's over the hill.
To my north?
Yes, to your northeast. Kind of where that flag icon is. You can see the flag of some Maryland militia in that direction. It seems like it's doing some weird movements.
I'll go over there and Armistead be sure to how's the British doing on the south?
You can't see how they're doing. You know that some of Tobias's troops went down over the hill in a bayonet charge, but like I said, you can see these two companies of men did not follow that order because they caught a pretty bad volley.
Yeah, get those units that are currently retreating to follow me. I want to go north.
The regular units, or just the units, all the militia units that are with you currently?
The two units that are retreating.
The
two regular units
okay.
from just those two that I see on my screenshot. Can I have them with me to look at the north?
You are the CIC. They may reach your position in 10 minutes unless you want them to double time it.
I think it's fine if they don't need to double time.
Okay. And then Armistead, if you have any additional orders to give, just type them out in your channel. I saw your message. All right. Thank you, General Winder. And just so you know, your dispatches are arriving. So,
Yeah.
yep. Okay. Thank you. Captain Miller.
Yeah.
Have you received your report yet and given orders?
I'm not giving orders yet. He moved on to talk with Tobias and coming back to me.
Okay. Well, yeah, Paloma is... Okay, I'll just let Paloma come back for your orders then.
Okay.
Hey.
Hello.
So, oh, did Tobias's guys retreat all the way back there?
They were picked up by by General Winder. They were given orders to join him.
Okay, sounds good. For Tobias's guys, I think he says that if the 2 units that are engaged in combat right now, if they're able to withdraw from combat in good order, to do so, and then to form up as reserves behind their forces on the right here.
Okay. And what are his orders for the forces on the right?
He just wants them to hold their position where they are.
Okay.
And then for Miller, he just wants his guys to peek over the ridge line. Is here, and then his artillery to unlimber. Does it take 1 turn to unlimber or limber?
What else? Where does he want them to go, or does he just want them to limber?
He just wants them to limber and then peek over the ridge line, or I guess position them right here.
Limbered. They can make that move, but they're not going to be able to fire this turn. Actually,
Okay.
why did I limber those? Unlimber them. Unlimber them.
All right. So this is good. This is good.
Okay. What do you got?
So this company over here
Mhm.
that was over online
Okay.
to help. These two are going to start flanking, like pushing around, wheeling around on this corner.
Okay. Interesting.
I'm not sure how far we're gonna have him push because his orders were having turn and like go this way. Oh.
They're yeah. As soon as they crest that hill, they're gonna get they're gonna be in grape shot range. They're gonna get a nice they're gonna get a nice volley from some American guns.
All right. So that's what they're doing. The skirmishers. Oh, okay. Well, let's get this figured out. So the yellow battalion or regiment. Well, I'm not sure what size these are.
Regiments.
Regiments.
Yep.
So this regiment is going to form up behind the skirmishers and start to push back the militia.
Okay.
The blue regiment is to move forward. I think it's going to have range. Good. To form up on this side of it.
Yep. They should have that range. Yep.
Do this.
Okay.
Kind of like that, I guess. And they're going to start driving towards the militia, keeping pressure on them. The skirmishers are going to start driving. I'm not sure. So they should cross the. How far are we going to have them move?
Let's see. So yeah, move them to about there for right now. Okay. Move these guys. Yeah. Move these guys here. Keep the this battalion here. That regiment there.
Yeah, because they just
Yep. Okay. Alright. Any other orders for the British? Their cannons, anything like that?
Their cannons are going to fire at whatever is in range, and I don't think anything is in range.
These poor chaps are. So
I think both sides kind of forgot about their skirmishers. They've just been standing here taking pot shots at each other this whole game.
yeah, we're gonna have them pull back. They're probably both in need of a rest, and their guns are fouling up because they're using rifles. And I can tell you from personal experience, using a rifled musket, you feel the effects of fouling much quicker.
Okay.
Alright, so let me do this over here real quick, that'll be easier. So these guys are pulling back up the hill. So only one British regiment was engaged. So let's say two of those regiments, at the very least, get some shots off at them. 5 and a 2. What's the range there? They're just out of range. Do you think I should roll one more? Because that's only 2.
So I would imagine, well, this one was firing here. This one was here. This one was here. I think we had this one fire at it earlier, didn't we?
Yeah, so let's roll and see what it does. A 3, so that brings it up to a 6. Okay. So these guys are going to really go across the ridge. These guys are going to kind of retreat in good order. Okay. And we'll say the British move up just a little bit to show that they've pushed the Americans back, and I know I'm moving the barricades as I do this. These guys go to about here.
Is this cresting? That's like that's cresting, though, I think.
Well, let me, if I could...
Or is this the crest here? I'm trying to decide.
I would say, like, they're just on the edge of cresting. I would say their commander has enough knowledge that he knows that he's supposed to flank this unit over here, and he's not going to want to crest the hill. So, let me...
Okay, this one? Oh, there we go.
Yep. It was moving with the gun smoke and stuff. Okay, so the Americans successfully, kind of, pull back that regiment. Just barely. I know. I don't know why the pieces do that sometimes with this.
Oh, well, Bob.
Okay, so up here in the north. What do we got? So, skirmishers are advancing, and let's say the Americans fire back. Yeah, get my dice switched up, but oh well. So a 5, which would bring them up to 5, 6, 7, 8. Alright, these guys are done. But they fire... Let me grab
What
a...
is that turn and fire?
Yeah, let's say that they're now engaged. Say the skirmishers push up a little bit. And we'll take a little bit of pity on the Americans. We'll say that they get a shot off. Oh. it's a shot of panic. You're just firing in the direction of the smoke. Okay. So Brooks can see more militia starting to stream. Well, actually, the unit next to them just broke.
So that's probably like what, another hit?
Yeah, so 3. Let me get rid of this one so I don't have to scale it. So yeah, these guys are up to a 4. And let's say this unit begins turning as well. Okay. Wow. So yeah, the British are in a position to turn the flank, and Winder is not there yet because he's waiting for these regulars to go and check out the north. And he's going to be taking 2 shaky units with him.
They're not as effective as militia at this point.
Um,
Are they ordering for them to rest, or are they just marching like straight out of that?
he saw them there, and he told them to come to him, and now he's going to march them north. He almost ordered them to double time, which I don't even think I should have. I don't even think I should have asked him that, because there's no way those guys would have double timed after taking a volley like that.
Yeah. Well, he's not even talking to the rest, so like their counter's not going to go down at all.
Right.
So he's just sending in like worse units than militia at this point.
Yeah, and I was even thinking too of having the British roll a +1 against militia, but starting them out at 3 seems to be having the same effect. Not as the same battle in real life, because I think the same battle in real life lasted about 20 minutes before the entire American militia line just broke and ran.
I'm wondering if at this point, if like we should start rolling to see if the militia are like even going to stay and fight after seeing all these other guys left.
Well, let me do this for those guys that are already wavering up there. And I said if it's a +20, that's 12. It's half. Let's do this. Let's give one of them back to 5. Let's put 2 of them back to 5. One of them's still wavering. Okay. All right. I think that's all the combat done. Oh, I didn't roll for the I didn't roll for the artillery. 2 and a 4, so they inflict 1 damage. Let's say these guys start. Let's say they pull back to the crest of the hill, so the artillery can't fire at them anymore.
How far are they going to be able to see? Are they able to see over the crest or just to it?
Show them these 2 units so they know that they pulled back and that's what these guys are firing at. There's not enough smoke there to really impede their vision yet. But, and also they heard a cheer come up from the line from one of their companies because they repulsed an American charge. Yes, but when they go up that hill, they're going to get a nasty surprise. If they go up there. Okay. Paloma, you still want to handle Miller and Tobias?
Yeah, I can do them. Can
Guys here or no?
No. They would see... They see this unit, and they see the militia, more militia, retreating. And they can't see past the crest of the hill. What was your question, Paloma?
can Miller see the British units here?
Yeah, they're a company. They're not going to have a flag. Oof. Okay. One of the retreating men lets him know that there are British about to crest the hill there, just off the road. But he cannot visually see them, but his gunners are already lined up and ready for if they do come up the hill.
Sounds good.
And time is 11:20.
Alright, I'm going to start getting orders.
Okay, I gotta deliver a couple dispatches. Don't forget any dispatches.
I've already sent them.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so those regular units have reached your position and are ready to begin moving to the northeast.
What's going on the west?
To the west, you can see more of Tobias's men coming back up the hill. One group of, it seemed like a company of them were running up the hill. They weren't completely routed. They were maintaining some level of cohesion. And then another group of them came up in relatively good order with their flag still held. and there is still musket fire, and it seems the musket fire is increasing to your northeast.
Yeah.
You can also, real quick, your troops that were previously on the hill, those 2 units that are now at fours, they have pulled back even more because they were taking more British cannon fire, and they're now safe from the British cannons, but they took a couple shots.
Yeah. Take those guys that are with me in the those regulars to the northeast. So northeast, what's going on?
All you can hear is musket fire. You can't hear any artillery, but it seems that the Maryland flag that you could see up there last turn, it seems like it's moving to the west. It goes in and out over the hill, but it's definitely moving to the west.
You want to get half of your line to join up to the northeast. I think we need to go there.
He'll type his orders in his channel, but if that's what you want him to do, you're CIC.
Armistead, just get half of your line to go with me. We need to check northeast. That falters, and that should be gonna happen.
Yep, and then it seems like he's going to be coming with you, so just leave 2 units behind here, and bring... so in a sense, you're bringing 4 militia units and the 2 regular units and moving northeast.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Hey.
What do you got for me?
So for Tobias, he just wants to do whatever he can to get the disruption for his troops to his left down, and just have them try to reform up, kind of like this, a line like this to get ready for another attack. But if the British are in range to start firing, but pretty much just having them immediately begin.
Okay. And
then for Miller, just if he said if the British come into range, then to open fire on them.
okay. Alright, so let's see what the British do here. Miller's thinking about falling back.
Yeah, interesting. I think he's afraid his guys can't hold back the British.
I mean, they've got a good chance. I mean, it's an even, almost, it is an even match, except for the artillery. That's going to be the big play, is how the British choose to advance. If they go all in, they're going to lose a couple regiments immediately to the artillery. If they are a little bit cautious, they'll get an early warning about the artillery and maybe maneuver a different direction. Or they can move a different direction altogether.
How far do the British need to get their artillery up to hit the line on the right here at all?
Well, they've got two options. They can either move their artillery here and fire, like, at least at these units, or they could take a chance and move their artillery up to the crest of the hill, and they'd at least be able to fire on these troops. But the issue is getting them up there to unlimber, plus they'd have skirmishers.
Oh God.
Oh boy, what do we got?
Okay, well no, it's a good thing. So Thornton just talked Ross out of moving his cannons here.
Okay.
So okay, luckily that's not going to happen. So his cannons are going to rest for now. So take that off. Then Thornton is going to be bringing all of his men back behind the breastworks to start to recover. So and he's going to have these guys cross. So that should bring their disruption up to 2 crossing.
Okay.
Everyone else just going to stay here and rest.
Those guys just moved. We'll give this guy back to 3. Skirmishers.
Oh, dude, I was panicking when I will put my cannons on top of this hill. It's like eternally screaming.
That's part of the challenge of being an umpire when you know a player is about to make a horrible move and you can't stop them. You get like a sympathy pain.
Okay, so for Brooks over here, he's going to have his this regiment go and charge.
Okay.
So I'm not sure what the distance is for that.
200 yards, they can do it, but it's going to bring them up to 2.
Charge into them.
Let's...
Into this unit here.
Okay. These guys aren't in range yet, because they got 100 yards before they even crest the hill. What about his other regiment?
They're going to come up too. They're marching up in line. So how far are they going to move? Because I know they're going to be different now they're in line.
Yeah, let's say they get to about the road. And we'll say Brooks moves to here. So before we do that, just to see what happens. Okay, so the skirmishers fire another volley. The Americans roll a 2 and miss. Skirmishers roll a 5. 5, 6, and a 4. Another unit of militia gone. And then the char.
Run in front of them.
Yep, that brings them up to a 4.
See the charge of a regiment.
But they roll a 6, so let me move that. Actually, they were at 2 because they get from the charge. Let's say they bring this one up to a 4. And then the British hit them. Oof, okay, so 3 brings it up to a 5. And they roll a 5, so that one goes up to 3, 4.
Oh God.
Yeah, but they'd be flanked. Do you think that would bump up to a... even then, it's just 1 damage. Okay. So they're retreating. And this unit's going after them. And we'll say they captured the standard. I know Brooks, the player, I know he's going to get a kick out of that he's captured an American standard. So these guys are retreating. Get rid of the... Okay.
And they're still not going to see these guys over there, are they?
No, they are not. So they're falling behind. These guys are here. These guys are going after that unit. Let's say these units are starting to turn. Leave it there. Okay. So they just heard, these guys over here just heard a bunch of musket fire and a charge. So let's roll and see. Should I roll all 4 dice? Do you think that's too light on the Americans?
I mean, with realistically with how they would have already been broke by now, like historically, I'm thinking that like we should probably start doing something a little bit more heavily on the Americans to make this break.
So what do we got? Oh, that was a. What was the last one? It was a 5 and a 4, which was a 9. We'll say that. And these guys are starting to go past him here, so we'll say this militia is starting to pack up their bags. And let's add. We'll say there's some nervousness going throughout the ranks up here. Okay. Plus, they're about to get hit by 2 fresh militia units, but some pretty bad, beaten up regulars. Alright, so as of right now, Yes. Yep, good call. I forgot about that, because I took them from here. Alright.
These guys go back to are these guys 1 now or?
They were at 3. I moved them up to 2.
Oh, okay, good.
Yep, so they're good. Okay, so the only combat happening right now is up in the north. Okay, so pretty. Go ahead.
Does Tobias's guys over here need to get -1 disruption since they've been out of combat 1 turn?
They'll get -1. This one here, he'll get -1 next time. They'll both get -1 next time if they don't get engaged this turn. Yep. All right.
Alright, and you already did the cannons, good. Alright, so same thing, just crest of the hill.
Yep. We've got a standoff here. Neither side wants to cross over that hill there.
And then all like they're about to sweep the militia from the north. And that charge I feel like was kind of stupid.
By the British.
Yeah, because now look how damaged they are.
Right. Yeah, and they don't have their unit cohesion either.
Alright, so crest of this hill as well. For Brooks.
Give me 1 second. Okay, where are you looking at?
Crest of this hill for Brooks.
Yep.
Does he hear anything at least, or no?
No, because he's got a melee going on, and musket fire just happened. If it was all quiet, I'd say maybe, but not right now. Okay, Armistead.
I like where they're co-located. It makes it so much easier.
It does. Okay, gonna go start getting orders. Hello, General. Okay. Okay, so you are advancing north. You hear more musket fire. and it sounds like there might be a melee going on. Now to more or less direct north of your line of troops. That Maryland flag, you can't see it anymore. Your cannons, and it is all quiet to the west where you just left. There is no fighting going on in that direction.
I see. Fact, time is 11:30. What do you say? Regulars. Yeah, so we're gonna go over that hill with my men. Get
Okay.
that yeah, get that unit that has fours to come with me. Are they following me?
Yes, they're already following you.
Alright, good. Get them with me. We're gonna press, not go over the hill, but look over the hill and then fire a volley, and then guessing yeah, we'll just fire a volley. Actually, no, fire a volley and charge. Yes. Actually, yeah, I think we'll just fire a volley. We'll don't charge yet.
Okay. Any other orders at the moment?
Just over the hill and just fire it down at the British. That's it. That's I think that's it for now.
All right. Thank you very much.
Tobias is still thinking over his orders, and Miller just wants to co-locate with Tobias for the next turn.
Okay. Yeah, give Tobias a second or two.
Okay. And then Miller sent a dispatch to Winder the previous turn. Is it okay if I deliver that dispatch to Winder now?
Yes. Yep. As soon as you see them get their updated screenshot, you can go ahead and paste the dispatch.
Okay.
The British are now doing a general advance.
Oh boy. Okay.
So let's take a recap. So both these regiments up here are going to start advancing up the hill.
Okay. These two.
Yep, they're going to start advancing up the hill. The cannons are going to limber.
Okay.
And they're going to be along that road towards the hill.
So they're gonna go up like that. It's just a placeholder for right now. Okay.
Probably get to the crest before they get opened up on by all the Americans.
Did they have a stop point or?
Nope, general advance up the hill.
Okay. Alright, so.
They're going to stay in open order, so that's good.
So let's say like that. One in reserve. Yeah, they're gonna be back in combat.
Bias get shot.
Parry this. And then what are the commanders doing?
They didn't say. They just said they're going to advance their men.
Okay. And then what is Brooks doing?
Alright, so this one's going to get back in the line. So, battle line.
Yep.
This one is going to turn to the southwest. Luckily.
Yeah.
These guys are going to stay in melee, and these guys are going to rest.
Okay.
And then these guys are going to turn. How far should we be going right now?
Now these militia are booking it. So if they're right there, probably to the edge of these woods. Yeah, and then they'll start. Yeah, those guys are out of range. These guys are in range, but they're flanking. So gun smoke. Yeah, let's say they. Okay, so they're outflanking the Americans now. Paloma, what did Tobias want to do?
So interesting order. He wants his left flank, so these guys to fall back to act as reserves for Miller's infantry, and he'll give Miller command of those units as well. And then for his right flank, he wants them to form a double line in the forest facing west, so this direction. Pretty much, he also wants them to lay down. So pretty much, I guess he wants to have them act as an ambush force, and he's going to be with his troops in the forest. And Miller said that he wanted to co-locate with Tobias. I don't know if he'd still want to do that. Tobias does that.
I'd say he gets a.
He doesn't need it.
I'd say he gets about here when the British come up over the crest of the hill.
Okay.
Okay, so what's going to be easier to... Alright, so Gunsmoke, Gunsmoke. What's the range here? These guys are going to advance over the hill. Alright,
Can't see over the fucking hill.
now we said about here. So the skirmishers probably come up, see the militia there. They probably deploy like this. The cannons get to here. And we'll say they unlimber. Was that their final end goal position?
Yeah, to go up on the hill and set the artillery up. They wanted it right here, but
Yeah,
it's right there already.
right. Yeah.
I guess they've taken initiative and set up.
Alright, let me get rid of all this junk over here. Where was my dice? There they are. Okay. So, first they come over the hill. Cannons open up a canister on them. So, 6, 5. They pull back. 1 plus 2 because it's in canister range. 3. They get hit. That cannon's just unlimbered. They can't fire yet. Militia is in range of the skirmishers. Skirmishers are missing. They did not eat their Wheaties this morning. Jeez, oh man.
What is Armistead doing this whole time? He's been sitting there.
Let's see. Oh, actually, okay. He is... So there will be no Americans there. Because he is going like that. He is following his commander. So, the British now have a nice little artillery battery that next turn can fire at their rear. Okay, so that was the roll for the cannons. Cannons are out of... probably these infantry would come up and begin firing at the cannons. Yeah, let's say they are. Gunsmoke. So we've already rolled for the cannons. Oof. So 3, actually 2. Yeah, 2, 2. So they're driving away some of the gun crews. Are these guys in range? They're just, we'll say they. Move up. Okay, so 2 units on the right. British roll 4s. One and 1. Americans roll 6 and a 5, so that brings 4, 5. And over here. Oof. Okay, so 2, 4. Okay, so the British are getting the worst of it over there. Oh, I gotta roll for the north now. Alright, so let's see if these guys break from the bayonet charge alone. Yep.
These guys see the break. Yep.
And we'll say these guys see him break. And British roll 5. Yep, these guys are done. They rout. They start pulling back. Probably these guys also start pulling back. We'll give them a disruption. 5 and a 4, 9. Yep, let's say these guys say enough of this. There's one small group that's still holding on. Actually, they start running. This unit probably runs. Alright, and then coming down over the hill, I'm just going to say these skirmishers just... They're in loose order. They're all of a sudden faced with an entire American line. They break. Let's give the Americans... oof. Oh, the Americans can't catch a break. Okay, so... What was that? Yeah, have them start turning. Kind of like, yeah, we'll have them like that. And we'll put these guys are kind of back. Yep. Yeah, because the
This guy is his. This guy was the skirmishers that belonged to him.
right. Well, the units are getting intermingled a little bit now, so. But remember, he had the skirmishers in the rear, and he had one of them form up.
This one was blue skirmishers that's going back into the battle line.
Right. These guys were ordered to go to the crest of the hill. They get volleyed. And we'll say the British. Yep. And we'll say the British haven't inflicted any damage yet. So his men have just let loose a volley. He doesn't know what the effect is. Can see the crest of the hill. Can see more. I would say see about here. And then, yep, same thing. Miller, crest of the hill. He can see. Can't see the cannons yet.
Okay.
And for Ross and Thornton, they can just see their guys up here essentially.
Yeah, pretty much. Yep.
But they can't see these guys in front.
Correct. So I think we'll give it about 2 more. Let's keep going for a while. Let's see what what happens after the end of 2 turns. I think we're beginning to reach a conclusion. Actually, those cannons are firing now too. And time is 11:40.
I'm gonna go get orders.
Okay. Hello.
Yep. How's it going?
It is going. As you advance northeast, you come up as some British skirmishers. Actually, it's a company of regulars deployed in a skirmish formation. Your men quickly drive them off, and the British down below you quickly begin to turn. They have just fired a volley, so you have yet to see the effects of that. But to the west, you can see British riflemen and British artillery cresting the hill where you previously were. You can see that Miller's battery has opened up, and you can assume that they are under some attack from the British in that direction as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I want, ooh. Yeah, I want, let's get the regulars to stay with the militia, keep firing and fixing the enemies. But, my fours on the east,
Mm-hmm.
I want them to flank on the east, while the other 4 with me right now, just fixes them. I want and then that unit behind me, I kind of want them to go with the ones in the 4s. I want them with the 4s in that flank east. But the regulars and the ones in front of me with 3s just fix those British in front of me, while the line behind me and the 4s flank on the east. Brooks's eastern flank.
Okay.
Be about it.
All right. Thank you very much.
Hey.
Hey.
So for Tobias, I think he hopefully learned from the previous charge, so I think now he just wants them to attack um, and just fire at the enemy.
Okay.
And then for Miller, he wants to have his infantry. I don't know if he can like order them to focus fire. Is that possible? Or
Kind of, but who's he want them to focus on?
he wants his infantry to focus on the unit with the 5 disruption, and then so that's like first priority, and then second priority is this one on the right here.
Okay. Sorry.
I don't know if that changes anything, but
Yeah, this unit over here isn't really going to be able to do that. I mean, maybe this unit, instead of firing here, fires on this one.
Okay, the British are going to do a organized retreat back down the hill. Except for the cannons. They are going to turn and quote unquote shoot them or something.
Oh boy. All right. What about let's start with what about Brooks?
Okay, so Brooks. This one company is going to move to the right, to its left flank.
Okay.
And as for the blue, they're going to get onto line over here. So let's. And they're not going to advance, they're going to hold ground because he thinks that since they were firing, there's still something over here. Which he's right, it's just they're not advancing.
Right.
And he is going to move himself to capture this.
Okay. Yeah, we'll say these guys just go to here, and we'll give them a turn or two to reorganize. Okay, so let's do combat up here.
They're still moving back.
Yeah, I thought they're gonna start. I mean, look at all this. That's almost 2 whole regiments of militia that they're seeing falling back towards Washington. They're already wavering. They're gonna start getting out of there.
Okay. It'd be great if you captured another standard. That'd be awesome.
Alright, let's see who comes out on top here. So, British roll a6, which brings them up to a 6. Brings them up to a 5. Americans don't roll there. And they roll a 4, which brings them up to a 2. So these guys are pulling back. British roll a 5, which brings them up to a 5 and a 4. 4. Americans roll a 2 and a 5. And we'll give that American a chance to shoot, and they miss. These guys really are not. No. Alright, so these batteries here, we'll say they turn kind of like that. So the British are doing a general retreat down the hill. We'll say these guys go to here, and the Americans aren't pressing them, they're just returning fire.
Miller did want
They're trying to do a organized retreat back to the breastworks, what they wanted, and have the skirmishers protect the guns.
Yeah, so put that skirmisher piece.
Are going to do that protect the guns.
Well, they're technically riflemen, so they've got a little bit of a longer range. So those guys will make it. Okay, what did Miller want?
wanted to ride over here with cross units. I guess to protect the artillery and
Grape shot
screen.
range. Oh, okay. He's down there. What's grape shot range?
I mean, how far is he? If he's with the cannons, say rides there, even then. Okay. So this unit, we'll say, goes over here. Alright, before we get cheeky with anything, let's see what happens here. So these guys are coming out of the woods. These guys pull back. Yeah. I would say these guys maybe double time it back to the breastworks. So that means these guys get attacked in the flank. Is that range? Yes, that's range.
God, this still could go like really either way.
I know. That's British roll 1, so they don't do anything. Americans roll a 4. Oh, 5. Then 6, 7. Okay, so the British finally have their first real broken unit. So these guys are retreating. Yes. Yep. Okay, so cannons. These guys, yes, they will also be in range of the cannons. So we'll move them up like that. So let's do this. Okay, so the American guns. Oh, we're gonna have like a little artillery duel here. Well, let's say they fired their volley at the British, going back over the hill. These guns reposition, so the British get a shot off. The American guns. 4 and a 2. So 3. And then the British riflemen. Jeez, oh man. And then let's roll and see what happens to Miller. 8. So Miller is wounded. He has caught a rifle ball in his arm. And let's say he has fallen from his horse and he cannot give orders for the next turn.
Okay, sounds good. Does he get any screenshots?
Very close in. So he can see the regulars and he can see the British firing at him. So let me just. That's going to be solid shot against skirmishers. I mean, I'll roll for it. It's a 1 anyways. I was going to penalize it because I mean they're spread out. Artillery isn't really that effective against skirmishers. So, okay. So they're doing damage there. I already rolled for them to target. Yeah, I think one of them would at least roll for. And it's a 2, so it doesn't do anything anyways to the infantry. Okay. Alright, so screenshots, Russ. Let them know that, yeah, they can see the musket smoke off to the left here. Get rid of all this gunfire. Not that it's going to be in anyone's screenshot. Tobias, he cannot see what's happening on top of the hill. And he can probably see these front 2 British units. Brooks, he can see nothing over here and then along the crest of the hill. Like I would say he goes to about here and then he sees kind of like that. Yep.
Alright, see you guys in a bit.
All right. Yes.
Yeah, what happened?
So you advanced. Let me take a look here. You advanced those units on the east. They took a pretty heavy beating from the British. They're pulling back from their advance now, but they are about to be relieved by the other remainder of the regiment under Colonel Armistead. The regulars are firing upon the British, but it doesn't seem like they're doing much damage, but they're also not taking return fire from the British. To the west, you can see that the British line, skirmishers and artillery, have begun firing at Miller's line, and it seems that Miller himself has fallen from his horse.
I see. Takes a shot again. What else is going on the left?
It just sounds like it's the cannons firing. You can't hear too much musket fire, except for the riflemen, the British riflemen, that are defending their cannons.
I guess that the regular beside me can just start. How's that British line north of me doing?
It seems like they've reformed, but they are taking some damage.
I see. I want 5 and that one with the 5 up to the east. The line 5 and 6 to hold for a bit, probably in that forest. Get that 3 line next to me to go on their eastern flank. On the enemy's eastern flank north of me. And I think I'll go with them, I guess.
Okay.
Right now, I think all the forces beside that those two companies that are at 3 to just maneuver with me and go on the enemy's eastern flank. That's about it. Right now, everybody else just fixes the enemy on the north.
Okay, understood.
Yeah.
yes, only updates from Tobias are that he wants to push the attack. So he's not going to charge, but he's going to continue firing and advancing towards the enemy.
Alright. Oh, jeez, oh man. This is... I don't know how we would call this as it stands right now.
Yeah.
I mean, the British are beginning to take a beating, but they've got... They're beating the Americans in the north. Now, let's say these guys turn to meet that.
Yeah, I feel like they'll probably lose in the north unless they get some really lucky rolls.
Right. Let's see what the British order, and then we might do a double turn, because we are coming up on time here.
Okay.
And then you let Miller know he was wounded?
Yeah, I don't know if it makes a difference, but he wanted to be dragged so that he's not going to get shot at again.
Alright.
What you got?
So all the fives are going to pull back towards Thornton and Ross, and they're going to try to rally them.
Okay.
So, however, all these other units are going to start to burn and face the British that are staying under suppressing still.
Alright, so they can probably get a... at the most 3-unit frontage, we'll say. Yep.
And the skirmishers and cannons continue to be.
Okay, and then what is Brooks doing?
I already moved his guys. These guys are going to be coming back now, right?
Yeah, we'll put them into battle. We'll put them into battle line, but we'll put them at a 4.
So these guys have swung around, so I think they're going to be hitting this one or now hitting these.
Okay, so we're coming up on time here. So what were Brooks's intentions? Was he going to start pushing? Was he just defending?
Just defending.
Okay, alright, well, let's... I think this battle's going to be decided in the north. Well, let's see if the British manage to break this charge. Well, not charge, but engagement. So the Americans roll a 1 and a 3. They go up to 3. British roll 1 and a 4. Then the British get one more roll. And they miss. Okay.
Just so Josh can come out of
Yeah. Alright, so... Alright, I'm just gonna roll real quick, because those militia have been pretty stressed. Okay, these guys are done. They tried their best, they reform, and they rout. Let's see. 2. Yep, they don't even do any damage to the British. And they're now off and running. Yeah, make them break. Alright, so those guys advance. We'll say they're turning. They're going to capture this gun battery eventually. But let's see what happens here. So British roll a 3, which brings them up to a 6. They begin pulling back. 5, 7, which brings them up to a 7. Routed. I don't know what that was. Even the piece itself wants to get out of there. Alright, and over here, Americans roll a 6, 4, and a 4. British roll a 2 and a 3, which brings them up to a 6. They're going to begin pulling back and no longer firing. And then we've got a British unit that is flanking, and they roll a 3, which is a 6. They begin pulling back. Alright, we are running up on time here, so let's do a double turn. Well, actually, let's see what the British artillery does. Rolls a 6 and a 3 at close range, so they're going to fire a canister now at the infantry. They're going to break that artillery crew. We'll say they're defeated. These guys are pulling back. Oh, that wasn't even the skirmishers, too. So, what do the skirmishers roll? 5 and a 5. Jeez, oh man. They finally got the range. They just need to be out in the open. So, 4, we'll say that is defeated as well. Okay, Miller is still injured. Alright, so let's say this continues for another turn. Americans continue to press the attack. Americans roll a 1 and a 1. British roll a 3, 4. These guys are starting to pull back a little bit. British get one more roll. Yeah, because they're getting rallied by their commander. Alright, British got another roll of 3, which brings these guys up to a 3. Alright, over here. Let's say these guys advance, because these guys' orders was to turn the flank, so they're going to follow through. They're already at a 4. 2 and a 1. British roll a 6 and a 5. So these guys are done. Then these guys are probably going to come up. We'll say they don't capture the battery quite yet. And they're gonna pour flanking fire into this unit, so this unit's done. So the regulars are breaking. And they're gonna... Yeah, and they're all shaky, so all these guys are gonna start... Yeah, there's no way these guys can hold. I mean, let's just roll and see. Let's give it a chance. Yeah, nope, these guys are all done. At least, this one goes to 7, which brings this one to 7, which at least brings this one to 6, but they're going to have a bunch of retreating guys going through them. Right, which means the British have a clear line of advance on the guns. I would say... Right, but Brooks is bloodied a little bit here. So the Americans... Right, so the Americans did better than historical here. They can't win the battle. They never really could. But... Right. They may not be able to take the direct road back to Washington, so the British may not get to Washington until night, like historical. So the Constitution, stuff like that, is saved before they burn down the White House. Yeah, so slightly better than historical, still a relatively historical outcome, given the circumstances. So let's go to the lobby and we'll start dragging players up. Just lobby. Okay, also gonna ask everyone to go on mute. We'll do the usual style. We'll hear from the CICs first, then we'll share the results, then we'll go through the umpires, and then we'll have time to hear from the players. So we're gonna start with General Winder, commander of the American forces. How do you think you're doing so far before you see any of the results?
Unless the line like demolishes on my center, maybe I won this battle on the north side. The skirmish on the northeast. Yeah, I don't really know. I hope I win. But my other guys said they did some stuff. You know, not positive, but maybe.
Okay. What about General Ross, CIC for the British side? How do you think you're doing so far?
I only hope that is on our side because I do not know. Because I think we are losing, but after hearing what happened with the winter, I just pray we are. I don't know, I just think we are losing, to be honest. I am pretty pessimistic about this current situation.
I can't tell you guys how we took the smallest amount of chip damage, and our CIC is like the Empire has fallen. The sun has set on the British Isles.
The Peninsula War has worn Robert Ross down to a sulking hulk of a man and pessimism. So.
I think this is Ireland. An Ireland, India.
So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Okay. So the deployment we had was fairly historic. We had some American units arriving up here, but otherwise the Americans set up on a defensive line here. But what they interestingly did decide to do was hide some of their forces and use the terrain to their advantage. Also hiding their guns and a lot of their militia units up here. The British deployed down here. Interestingly, at the beginning, the unit on the left crossed over paths, and Brooks went on this long flanking march around the Americans and hit that flank of militia. The British did skirmish across the Potomac here, and the biggest issue was this crest of a hill that no side could see over. So for this game, we did very close-in screenshots, penalties from smoke. We wanted to make this as fun for the players as possible in a stressful way. So the British took these ramparts here, but then got a nice blast of canister fire up here. The Americans tried to follow up on the attack, but were thrown back. The regulars were thrown back. It was just at that point that Brooks's attack took place on the flank, and that caused a lot of the American forces that would have been used in a counterattack here to go north. We were very historical. We tried to be as historical as possible without being game-breaking on how the militia worked. So historically, this battle lasted only about half an hour before the American militia just took off on the run, which caused the entire line to collapse. And there's some debate that if the militia hadn't run, that the Americans could have destroyed the entire British force here. So with what happened up here, Brooks was a little bit cautious. He had a good flanking line, And when we ran the double turn, the militia that were remaining here just broke, which meant that he could flank here and eliminate all these units. Now, does this mean this is a total victory for the British? No. We decided that that the Americans did better than the historical outcome here. The British have taken a bloody nose here, way more casualties than they did historically. The road to Washington is open for the British, but because they have to deal with these regulars down here, they're still going to be delayed in getting to Washington, D.C. by nightfall, which means that the Washington government can evacuate the city, and the key documents, such as the Constitution, Declaration of Independence, and such, can be evacuated from the capital. So it's not a complete rout on the American side, but it's not also a victory. So we'll go through the umpires for this game, and then we'll start hearing from the players. So first we have umpire Paloma.
Yeah, it was a fun game to umpire. I was mostly with Miller and Tobias the whole game. Thought you guys did good. I think Tobias, there was a point where I think the first attack you had made, it was a charge into the British. I think that was a risky charge because the British just had crossed the river at that point, and I think they were right after the battle, but they're pretty fresh still. So I think that ended up causing, I think, maybe half or two of your units to get damaged. But I think the idea that you had to hide in the forest and ambush them was a good idea. And Miller, I thought you did good. And even though you didn't see much action until towards the end of the battle, I think you did a good job.
Okay, and then we'll hear from umpire Ryan.
I was with the British for the entire operation. Not gonna lie, at first we were pretty skeptical on the British maneuvers. Oh, dang, massive. To do this like full flank. We were very, very well. At least I was. I was very skeptical on how well we were gonna do. Turned out it was honestly a great flank. It just it's like how the Americans had everything set up with the militia and how we were able to do it great. It honestly is what saved the battle from just turning into a retreat that took out the militia. I've got to say that Thornton was doing fairly well. We were very defensive, and it turned out really well. You guys had strong defensive positions, and I think that did really, really well for you guys. With Ross, I think that you were a little too aggressive, and you guys let the could have let Kramer do things like that if it wasn't. You guys did really good job. It was a fun game to umpire. Yeah.
Okay. So then we'll just go down the players as they're listed here. So first up is Colonel Arthur Brooks.
So I was the British flanking force. I went and took marching simulator 1814 for most of the game. I was actually really surprised to run into anything when I got reports of militia at the crossing. And then also extremely surprised with how quickly I was breaking the militia. But yeah, it started to kind of start turning into a scrum. I started seeing some regular troops show up. I saw firing kind of on all sides. So I was expecting to have a really nasty uphill fight right before where the game ended. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. It's a good game. The really strict adherence to terrain and line of sight made it extra special, I think.
Okay. Actually, so we might actually visit this battle in the future, the Battle of North Point, which was fought not too long after this, actually right before the bombardment of Fort McHenry, where in that battle General Ross was killed by an American rifleman, and Arthur Brooks actually succeeded him as CIC of the British Army at that point in the Americas. So that might be an interesting scenario to run a little bit more evenly matched. So we'll go. We'll go to Colonel Armistead, if you can give your thoughts.
Yep. Okay, I can see that at the moment my militia has essentially ceased to exist. Yeah, so that was where the original plan was to just stand and delay the British as long as possible, and I think I did manage to do that. Although then after that pretty much I was collocated with the CIC for most of the game, so I was just sort of following him during the retreat up to the northeast to try and catch them in the trap. But I don't think the trap really sprung too well. Yeah, the trap was supposed to be all the forces coming in from the northwest. But overall, I think, yeah, it was a good game overall.
Okay. And then next we have General Stansberry, who was with Tobias Stansberry.
Yeah, it was kind of weird being referred to by first name during most of the dispatches and reports. But in any case, I was in the command of the regulars, and I was aware of the battle, at least the history of the battle, and specifically its other nickname, the Bladensburg Races, which it refers to the militia running. So, and how much of a disaster it was. So, my plan was just to do a better job than historical, and I think I succeeded. I do agree my first attack was not the best. I was a bit too aggressive in that first attack, and it kind of led me to losing half my forces, either to being sent away to other places or to just casualties. Fortunately, my right wing, my right regiment, if you want to call it that, was still in perfect condition. So I decided, you know what? They still haven't noticed us, I don't think. Let's just hide in the woods and let's try and catch the next British attack in the flank. And it worked. I can't believe it worked, but it did. And I was ready to roll up and bag the whole line had I not known that history had repeated itself on the other side of the line. So I think we did fairly well, better than I was expecting, but yeah, it was fun, and I would love to play in the next iteration of this war. We rarely see War of 1812 run in IKS, and I'd love to see it happen again.
Well, I'm thinking that maybe somewhere in my future I might be using the. It's close enough, I think, the American Civil War Grand Eastern map that the IKS has, and maybe running a play-by-post War of 1812 there. But we'll see if we can get that up and running.
That would be awesome. I'd help run it.
Okay, I'll hold you to that. And the way we did this, we didn't want the militia just to break at the first volley. So the way we offset this was the American troops had been counter-marching most of the day because they didn't know what route the British were taking. And so the regulars started at 2 disruption at the beginning, and the militia started at 3. So the militia could do some damage and hold, but at the same time, how much damage could they do to the British? And where not necessarily that history had repeated itself, the militia line in the north was like this. They were facing south, ready for the British to come up from the north, and Brooks just comes in and just wraps their flank. So that's what happened in the north there. We'll hear now from Captain Miller, who had a detachment of Marines and some relief artillery for the Americans.
Yeah, first of all, my apologies to Colonel Armstead for using his can fodder in the front. Sorry, Winder and I made the plan originally to use you guys as bait to lure the British in, then wrap them up with an envelopment tactic, which I was so surprised they even worked to begin with. But I wish I could have done more towards the end. but I got shot in the face, or sorry, shoulder, whatever. That kind of sucked. Things happen, I guess, and some things got lost translation. I guess my biggest gripe of what had to transpire with this game was just confusion with the terrain. Things that weren't clear to us beforehand that we could have planned for but didn't because we didn't know. We thought that the depressions were hills, but in fact it's the other way around. I think that's partially our fault for not looking into that beforehand, like the topography, using the maps that we were looking at before. And I kind of forgot how absolute atrocious our militia were. So using them as a rear guard was probably not the best idea. But looking at the map currently, we have a good choke point, or not choke points, a good concentration of regulars with a severely weakened British opposing force, while the rest of the British main force is still some distance away. We could have done a lot of significant damage, given like one or two more turns before running away ourselves. So, and I guess in those lenses, we did our job. Our job was to delay. We knew that we could have won, but we weren't going to win. I think deep down we all knew this. We're not going to win. Just a matter of how badly can we beat up the British before that happens.
Right. Yeah, that's the challenging thing with this scenario is that militia handicap almost. Um,
I was cranky.
Yeah.
um, but like I said, there is debate that the Americans could have won if the militia had stood their ground at this battle. So, because the British didn't have a very large force that they were using. Now, also keep in mind too, these American troops, they've never even the regulars, they've never seen battle. They may be led by a couple officers who had been in the Revolution, but even that was a scarcity at this point. Where the British, like I said about Ross, almost all these troops were veterans of the Peninsula campaigns during the Napoleonic Wars. So you have that working against the Americans as well. Um, I wasn't sure how to factor that in, so it was more just the attrition from those countermarches. So we'll hear from the British CIC again, General Robert Ross.
I am happy with my plan of flanking the Union for the Americans' work, and I admit I was over aggressive and probably over pessimistic, but sorry, I didn't know what is. At least I am happy I won, even if at least less battle, well, less, you know, wars. I did wars the British in real life. At least I am happy we won, I guess. Sorry, I was happy with that. And also, I may speak about to be honest, I remember this was sort of out the blue because actually we thought it was going to be the other way around, and I don't know why I thought it was going to be like we are going. I can turn the map and you can slot.
Mm-hmm.
You can turn the map because I thought we are going to be start like that, like this. I thought it was going to be the bound. They told me no, actually it's going to be the other way around. I'm like, okay. I guess we are. It was like okay, we are going to remake everything as like flanking move. And yes, I guess. Yes, I sort of happily that worked out. But yes, I should be less aggressive next game.
Okay. And then General Thornton, who was on the British side.
That's me. I really enjoyed this battle. I love short sightline battles. I think they are exciting and like terrifying. Um, I I really enjoyed crossing the Potomac there, and taking the breastworks and finding out that they worked both ways, and I was just like, all right, this is my hill now. I actually can't remember which American general was getting a little dinged for the early charge, but I think like this bears actually a compliment, and because of that, that like failed charge, you quickly realized that you needed to pull back, and that made our CIC want to like chase so that you know he's just like, oh man, they're hurting, let's go after them. I'm like, I'm pretty sure they're gonna have a lot of cannons in the hills to our north, but CIC kept pushing, and I was like, let's go. And so then we went, and so like while that charge, didn't go so well for you in the beginning, it ended up like probably keeping it from a total victory for the British.
And that's what I was hoping for, that you would follow that bait. I turned my
Yes.
my failed attack into bait and just
Yeah.
First running,
No. It
yeah.
it was good. This is also Leon's, who are our CIC. This is his first time as CIC, and I think he did a really good job. I want to compliment him on that. I don't know if there were any other new players, but I certainly had a very good time. I know that like short sightlines freak some people out, but I find them quite nice. So compliments to the umpires, and also very very quick turnaround on turns. It was a pleasure to play in this game.
Thank you. Yeah, with 10-minute, we actually did 10-minute turns, and what, we started at 10 o'clock, I think, in the morning? Yeah, 10 o'clock in the morning, and we actually almost made it to, well, we did make it to 12 o'clock, so almost 2 hours of battle. So, yeah, I'm pretty impressed with how we did on turn processing there. Last but not least, we have General Winder, who was CIC for the American forces. Now that you've seen results, any final thoughts?
Yeah, really interesting battle. I remember back in, I think, Washington's quote on militia, relying on militia, sort of like relying on a rusty cane, leaning on a rusty cane. Yeah, I didn't think they would fall like that badly. Um, but I do like this offensive on the west. I think before during the planning, I did a bit more psychological analysis of the enemy team. I knew like Ross was kind of a bit more reckless, doesn't really have much experience as a CIC, so I kind of used it to my favor, especially when they were getting overtly aggressive. I kind of knew that. But I think I think Booker on the north is what I consider to be like the most experienced, and he actually did like a really like crazy flank. I kind of did expect that. That's why I had a couple troops there, but they were kind of for a fallback line for the militia in the front. But I was I kind of suspected maybe it would be an eastern push, but I didn't think would be that crazy of a flank. Um, so I kind of underestimated some of the enemies this game. I didn't think they would do a crazy flank like that. Also, as a CIC, I didn't really. I feel like there's a rope around my hands. I can't really control much units until I'm near them. Which felt kind of like weird. I'm usually used to having a good amount of troops to be able to do some maneuver warfare, but like as CIC, like you don't have like much options. You have to rely kind of on your subordinates to do much of everything, which I kind of didn't like. But it's a pretty fun game, and I think I learned quite a lot, especially with my flank attack. But I'm happy to see that it wasn't a total loss. Probably like a minor loss in this case in this battle. But well,
as CIC, as someone who's been in that chair many a time, it is an unenviable task, and you need to have trust in your in your subordinates when you are the one in charge. You need to make sure that you can trust their capabilities and their initiative, their judgment in when situations where you're not present, because this is a game about teamwork. It's hard to be in control when you are only in command. So you kind of need to make a machine that works, but it's gonna break. You gotta make sure that it breaks the right way.
So yeah, that's definitely for those of us. I've noticed in the new umpire videos that we've been doing on the IKS. a lot of people have come over from the real-time strategy gaming world, Empire, Total War, stuff like that, and this is certainly not clicking in, telling a unit to go there, and they go there. You've got that chain of command, and that's always fun to deal with. So I'm going to be stopping the recording here shortly, but I want to thank the players. I want to thank the umpires. This was a fun game to run, fun concept. Like Thornton said, this was a tight-end screenshot game, so those are always interesting to run. So next week we'll be doing the Battle of Crete, and this video, for anyone who's interested, will be posted on the IKS YouTube channel. So I'm going to stop the recording, and feel free to hang out, or we'll see you all next week.